Welcome to Hearts of Iron 3, their finest hour. Very hard Germany in 1936. Yes, I said Hearts of Iron 3, not 4. 3 is just a unique beast, and it's complicated. There are many levers to pull, but once you know how the game works, it is a very fulfilling and rewarding game. It's just a wonderful time. And yeah, anyways, yes, very hard means there is an IC penalty on you of 25%, and the AI has double IC. It also means there is a combat penalty against you of 40%. And lastly, the big thing is the supply throughput penalty on the player of some percent. I forget what it is. But anyways, my game is also modded. This is vanilla game. I've just been modding it more and more over the years as I come back to it each time, right? As you could tell. I've also increased the AI's build, technology choices, and the units it chooses to make, like piercing and that kind of thing. So this is very hard, but even harder. I've also given the AI bonus manpower generation to accompany its IC boost, so it doesn't run out of manpower way too fast, right? Good. Anyways, let's get to the stuff that I call the chores. Now the chores I always do, you should always do, make one HQ like this, right? And then get rid of excess HQs, but I'll do that off screen. I'm not gonna waste your time with that one. And then march everyone to the capital, right, to reorganize it. Same thing over here. Reorganize that. Take the boat, all the boats. Sorry, can't speak. To there, and then the aircraft as well. These are mixed wings. That's bad. You do not want mixed wings for sure. And while I'm doing this, I will also just quickly do this as well. In Germany's case, if you move these two divisions down one tile each with a strat redeployment, you can pass the first decision immediately. Yeah, I'll do those two. Those are both allies in the future. And there. Good. I can now pass the first thing over here. Good. So I have cash now for laws, right? That's the strat redeployment. Don't want that. Good. 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 Yes. Now, let's see. I will go through each menu now at the top. Actually, did I do this yet? No. Yes. I was halfway done with these chores. Unassign leaders, uncheck auto assign, and then put some dummy with a wizard at the top of the military. And if you want, you could also go like this with a slider. I put it to the left just to make battles last longer so I don't miss stuff, right? Good. Good. Yes, good. Good. Now, diplomacy, this first screen, let's see, the first thing to mention that you may not realize is you don't use convoys if you trade on your own continent. So if you trade with anyone over here, you don't use convoys. So you don't have to, automating trade isn't that big of a deal as Germany. You just do it manually. It should be okay. You're gonna have to import metals and rare materials, export energy, and you want to export supplies to fund these imports, but you don't want to make too many, otherwise you will hurt your production a lot. So that's that whole part. These down here, let's see, what can I say about these? Well, you will get one for the MR pack. Pass it immediately on very hard, because if you don't do it immediately, you won't have the troop ratio to play a historical game on the Eastern Front. You can't declare war until who knows when if you don't pass the MR pack immediately. And I kind of skipped that, but I am playing a historical game, implying Poland in 39, Soviets in 41, and so on. So this game rewards playing like that, playing historically until that part, but once the whole world is on fire, you can do whatever you want. Yes. Anyways, let's see, the Anschluss, the way you do that quickly is you come over here to Austria, support our party with some dummies on there, and that should be good for that to fire whenever it's ready. Good. Now the triangle, people seem to always miss this or they don't realize it, but I picked up on it on my own actually. If you come down here to Spain, they have tungsten, and if the nationalists win, you can influence them on the triangle by going like this, influence nation, and once they're on your corner of the triangle, they give you the benefit of the tungsten, but they don't have to actually be in your faction, which is nice, right? Which is nice. That's all I have to say about the triangle, to be honest with you. Now, production, now this is the brains, right? This is the main part of the game, in my opinion, is knowing how this whole thing works. First thing I'm going to do, before I forget, is to lock in supplies, reinforcements, and upgrades, because the best strategy here is to get stuff made first, get practicals running, and then once practicals are cooking, you could allocate the extra IC efficiency bonuses that you've gotten back into other stuff. So off of production and back onto these things. But the most important thing is to get that first. So get units made, and I will be locking that in like this for the game start here. Good. And I will also be taking off auto convoys when the war starts, so I don't lose anything. It's just, I don't know. I prefer that way. Now divisions, the best divisions I think are 3 frontliners with a support. So in this case, 1, 2, 3 with an armored car as a support brigade. And why this division type? Well, this division type for light armor is just to be fast, early game division. Not necessarily, it's not going to be on the Eastern Front, I think. It's just going to be playing defense, rolling around, taking out partisans, that kind of thing. But you want to make some of these now for armor practical later, right? For later. So put 1 in queue. Next is infantry. This is what I'm going with, very standard division. People also put these in there, but the purpose is not to fight tanks, really. It's just to have a front line, and this is the most basic, good division, no matter what country you're playing, at any difficulty. Good. Next are the big tanks. Now, the big tanks are going to be 2 armor motorized with an engineer. Why an engineer? Well, the reason is because this is the spearhead. These guys cross rivers. These guys encircle cities. These guys just have to be in nasty terrain. So you give them the engineer when you can make them. And you can make them once you unlock this right here in technology. Good. Next. Mountaineers, what I will do actually, before I forget, is to delete these over here. Now, these are not reserves, they are regulars. So they take consumer goods to upkeep, which is not worth it at all, in my opinion. As Germany, I'm very hard. Same thing over here. These 2 brigades are not reserves, and they're not very good. So I will be deleting them here to save on consumer goods. It's not going to update yet, but yeah. Put him back in charge of that. Yes. Now, the other reason long term I'm not making these even as reserves is because if you come over here to the officer ratio, they have a higher officer requirement than regular infantry, which is kind of annoying. So it's, in Germany's case, in my case, I have reduced IC, but manpower is the same. So I just need to crank out as many units as I can. Manpower shouldn't be a problem. It's going to be actually IC that's a problem. So I want as many units out there as possible, not necessarily elite units in my case. Good. And while I see that, I will also make some of these things. Now, what is the purpose of this? Well, the purpose is not intuitive if you're not like a veteran at the game. The purpose is their urban attack is -15. You say, okay, who cares? Well, if I look at, for example, this division, this is -67.5. This is -45. Yeah, so this is a specialized division at urban attack, actually, and defense. So the goal here is to have the armor divisions reach the city, right? And then you send in the SS divisions to both assault and defend the city, because that's just what they're best at. So I'll be making as many of these as I can over time. Next, I have my port garrison divisions. And you could go either garrisons or militias. Either one is okay. But I like to go garrison with anti-aircraft and artillery like this. Now, why anti-aircraft? Well, the reason is because when the Allies naval invade you, they always bring carriers. And they always bomb you with those carriers on those invasions. So I found that is a nice little solution. And then artillery, just because it's like the best support in the game, right? Very simple. And then last is my cavalry divisions. These are meant to suppress and hunt rebels. Now, you could also go MPs with militias. That's fine too. But they're much slower than cavalry. And you could go 2 cavalry. That's okay. 1 is okay, but there's no leader for that. So it's probably not worth it. So I go 3 and I just say, who cares? Good enough for me. Good. I think that's it. Oh, yes. One more thing. I'll be making some artilleries. Like so. Why? Well, you start off with all these divisions that are just missing artillery. Right, you just attach it on there, and then you get the ideal division. So make some of those as reserves as well. That should be it for divisions. Now, air wings. I will start with fighters, right? You need a lot of fighters, interceptors in this case. You need to defend from strap bombing and also help air superiority in the east. So you definitely need a lot of these. Next is CAS. I think one group of 3 or 4 CAS is probably fine, just to help assist your spearheads where they have problems. That's probably good enough, but you can also make more if you're playing on like normal, I guess. Not making strap bombers, not making tactical bombers, you already have them to start with. But navs. I'm going to make navs. CAGs are smarter because they're light aircraft practical rather than medium practical. But I'm going to go navs because I'm going to have fun. And the point is just to help your naval battles along your own coastline because they are land-based aircraft, right? Good. Probably make one group of 2 or 3, and that should be enough for that. And then lastly, secret... Okay, so lastly, you have these things. These are transport planes. Now, it's not intuitive why you want transport planes to begin with, but the reason is because on very hard, there is a supply throughput penalty, so one way to circumnavigate that problem is to simply fly over tiles, right? Just fly over tiles and drop supplies at the front. So I'll be doing that with probably 2 or 3 of those. And I guess while I see this, if you come over here to my resources, I have air build speed, but I do not yet have armor build speed. So I'm going to be making those planes now while it's slightly more efficient, right? Good. Now, Navy makes some transports to, move stuff between East Prussia and mainland Germany, and also just to invade anywhere you want. You can also come over here to Japan and get some landing craft if you want to, but I'm not going to do that. It's kind of lame, in my opinion. So put some of those in queue. I'm not going big cruisers, but I'm going to go light cruisers, destroyers, and battleships. Now, you definitely want destroyers. They're probably the best screen for battleships. And light cruisers, I don't know, why not? I don't know, why not? If you ever go carriers, you have practical for that, for the screen part of your fleet, I guess. So, but I'm not going to make battleships until I actually research this engine tech right here. Then I'll put them in queue, right? And I already had destroyers and light cruiser or heavy cruiser in queue with a sub. I will go subs, but not a lot. Probably just one at a time. And that should be it for the Navy. So battleships, destroyers, light cruisers, and that's it. And transport submarines, I guess. Right. Now IC. Don't make IC on very hard as Germany. Every IC you make, you only get 3/4 back to use, right? So it is intuitively bad, right? Intuitively bad. As other countries, Soviets and USA, it's obviously very good. Good. Anti-aircraft, don't make it, it's wasting time. Rocket test sites, make it if you plan on playing a long game, because these techs over here are very strong, these secret techs, but they require a rocket test site. So if you plan on playing a long game to like 43, 44, 45, definitely make one of these, and make it early probably as well. Okay, so that's that. Convoys and escorts don't have practicals, so don't make them until you have maybe higher IC efficiency over here. Also, again, if you're going to trade with only Europe, you don't need them at all. So, yeah, that's worth mentioning at the same time. Now, like I said, I'm going to lock everything in and then make stuff. And as stuff gets finished, start flooding production back into upgrades and reinforcements. But for now, to begin the game, it's max production and maybe very little supplies at some point as well. Good. That should be it for this whole screen. It's a lot, but I hope that makes some sense. Technology is pretty simple. You want to lock officers in at 0 until you're on a bottom 2 draft law, probably the last one, but you want to be at 140 as Germany in general, so yeah. Do officers once you are on a good draft law. Diplomacy, if you're going to influence countries, that costs 2 diplomacy per day, right? But you could just lock it in once you start, whenever you feel like it. But for now, I'm not going to be worrying about diplomacy. I will be putting it at almost 0 for a while. Espionage, you could put it at something like 4 or 5 or 6 to begin the game. The point is just to kill hostile spies in your country, and then do the Anschluss with support our party mission. If you want to get cheeky, you could also tech steal or try to tech steal some majors for naval techs like this, but you're Germany, it's not it's kind of wasted time. You could also come over here to these other European countries and just promote your party if you care enough to get them in your faction faster. But again, this is optional. Bulgaria, increase ruling party. Good enough. Good. Now, technologies, the big ones to begin the game are obviously ship techs that are destroyers, in my case, light cruisers, and battleships. Also, unlock medium armor immediately, right? You want to start making these immediately, these medium divisions. Get some of this stuff as well. Infantry stuff, get artillery, get anti-aircraft, get armored cars if you care. It's not a big deal, but this stuff is just tax. No one cares. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a priority just yet. Over here, nothing. What is important are these fighter techs. So get radar, and then get these 1918 techs up to date faster. You want everything to be up to date by the time the war actually starts. So maybe start these 1918ers as well. And it's very hard to mess up this as Germany. You have so much leadership. It's very hard to mess up this whole technology screen. Good. Politics, very similar in being straightforward, that is. IC, pick leadership, pick espionage, I guess, pick supply throughput, pick supply consumption, and the last two, I go destroyers and light aircraft. Why? Well, come down here to your practicals, and you see your highest naval practical is going to be destroyers, and your highest air practical is going to be light aircraft. So you want those two to decay the least, or like the least fast. I don't know, whatever. And then pass all these laws. Pass which one is it? This one is actually arguable, but I'm just gonna pass every law and not worry about it. There are good debates for this one being better, but again, who cares? Good. And this has already been explained. Just do counter espionage and the Anschluss down here. That is basically it, I think. Yes, so the goal is to play historically with making everything on here to begin the game with. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see why that's a bad law. I lost like 20 IC right there on consumer goods, but I gain efficiency, I guess. But yes, the goal is to just make some stuff and then start upgrading once they are completed and make some more at the same time. Technology, straightforward. Diplomacy, just trade, get some metals, get some rare materials, export some supplies. And it is a lot of fun. Take some time to get the game going, 39, but I will update you every year probably, show you the progress, show you the decision making, and I will see you soon.